Excellent. So it should start recording now. Wonderful stuff.
Well, we did hear the announcement.
All right, I'm
You,
just
you
just just
know,
confirming it for you.
you know what's well, funny, maybe not so funny, is that for so long, when people recorded, no one actually knew.
Oh,
So
so
now, so now, well, not that this kind of dissuades anyone from picking their nose, but you gotta become utterly self-aware of the things
yeah.
that you
Well, you never know. Roxana's probably doesn't have a camera on at the moment, so she's probably eating a nice bit of food at the moment, or picking her nose, either or. Um,
do.
Or
but
both.
no. Now that is some level of
Uh,
multitasking, isn't it?
w-
So I can see we have
Is
seven
it though? I've seen
attendees.
some strange things on the road.
Industry highlights. I can see
Yeah.
we have seven attendees in at the moment. Could someone just pop a message into the chat just to double check that the chat's working for everyone? If someone doesn't type, I will pick out a name to put someone on the ropes.
You
All right,
want to
everyone.
know if you can
Don't
actually
jump. Don't all jump at
single
once.
someone out.
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. Brilliant. And the chat is working as well. So we're going to start the webinar at about 5 past, just to let attendees join the session as well. Um, but where is everyone tuning in from at the moment? I can see a Nick Warren in the chat. Sounds familiar. Is that the Nick Warren I know from Tech Tribe, I believe? Let's put you on the stop there. Sean is joining us from California. Hi there, Sean.
California.
It's 9 a.m. your side. It's a pleasure to be your morning breakfast radio. Yes, and Nick is joining from Cambridge as well.
I'm going to
Wonderful.
We
work
have we
from
have
Milton
quite a
Keynes.
bit of, oh, look at that. Ontario, Canada. Well, hello there. I'm in Toronto.
Wonderful. Pennsylvania as well. Indiana as well. John McCoy there. I'm sure the
Was that
weather out there
Cambridge,
is.
Mass or Cambridge, UK? Out of
That'll be
interest.
Cambridge, UK. That's Nick Warren. He
Okay.
joins our Tech Tribe sessions.
Okay.
Closest wins. Oh, Nick, you always got away with words, haven't you?
I'll give you away from Milton Keynes, home of Formula One.
Hey, home of Formula One. Is that a subtle hint there, Justine?
I think we have 5 teams headquartered here or hereabouts.
That's incredible.
It
Oh,
is, yeah. And I am cycling distance from Silverstone.
oh wow,
Rub
brilliant.
it in. Rub
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Now I have an e-bike, of course. Oh, well, it's uphill because it's up the coast.
Ben Cameron joining us from Maine as well. Hamilton one is okay. I didn't want to know about Hamilton winning his ninth, but that's perfectly fine. I think he's the first person, yeah, to win at that track 9 times in a row, which is quite incredible. I
Well,
know
I
that
think Terry is reading the McLaren on the side, so he's just decided to, you know.
yeah, it does get a bit of attention. I know that we were doing quite well in that race at Silverstone, but unfortunately, right at the end, Hamilton managed to nick it, only just. Um, Excellent. Brilliant. People pulling in. Excellent. So what I will do then is probably as we're moving to five past, we'll just move into some light introductions. So just to begin with myself, well, first of all, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today at this webinar. It's actually our first webinar, I believe, with Syxsense as well. But it's a very exciting partnership that is coming through at the moment with our integration. Just to introduce myself initially, I'm a senior account executive here at Halo. Started off on the support desk and transitioned into the client engagement team. I take an active role in presenting at trade shows and peer groups at the moment to large audiences and also existing customers and active prospects. As they say to me, I have a face for radio and a voice for TV. I will pass it over to Justine as well, who will give some nice introductions for the team. Justine?
Exciting is the word. We're very, very excited to be here with Halo today. I'm Justine and I look after the solutions marketing for Syxsense. So that includes content and product marketing. I'm joined here today with Andrei, who is our CIO, but don't be confused. That's not Chief IT Officer. He is our Chief Innovation Officer. And He focuses on strategic technologies, business transformation, and has collaborated with some of the world's most innovative companies and served in a range of leadership roles, such as CTO, CIO, and executive board member to boot as well. I'm also joined with Gene, who is our director of channels at Syxsense. He has a strong record of leadership and expertise in a variety of domains. And since 2019, he's served as the director of channels at Syxsense. Prior to that, he was in a position of director of channel programs and sales for Ismic, which became Syxsense as well. So we're very excited to be here. And I think we'll start the session, if you don't mind, Joe, with a very quick intro to Halo before we get stuck into the Syxsense content.
Of course, yeah, no worries. I'll quickly share my screen for you guys. Just double checking everyone can see this okay now. Excellent, good stuff, wonderful. So just to begin for my section here, it's a very short but sweet area, just diving into a little bit about the world of Halo before we get onto the meat and potatoes of the section, which will be around Syxsense and their integration with us. So I'll be giving you more of an inside look into our organization and who we are. So hopefully this will provide some insight for any newcomers, as well as any existing partners, on how we work. And if any questions do come up, feel free to shout them out during the webinar. It is an interactive session. So just to give a bit of background around Halo to start off. So Halo actually started up as a bedroom startup in Scotland, believe it or not. So two men in one bedroom in Scotland began our company and are still our active owners today. The company began up in Falkirk for those interested. They adopted a build it and they will come ethos with the organization. We actually started out in 1994, so we now have 3 decades or over 3 decades of industry experience at the moment. We actually did start out as Net Help Desk as an organization for any of those who heard the name previously, and we recently rebranded to Halo just over 5 years ago. Halo is actually now known as the world's first purebred unicorn, which is a company with no external investment that has reached a market value of 1 billion, which is very excited. And as an organization, we actually maintained a steady 100% yearly growth for the last 7 years in a row now, and we're on track to do it again this year, which is very exciting, but also a little bit scary. Our company culture is very important to us, and just to maintain this culture, we actually added a 10-year commitment to no mergers or acquisitions now with our organization. So if anyone does join Halo as a customer in the future, if any company does acquire Halo in the future, you can leave your contract free of charge. It's a massive commitment we did make, just to say that we're not leaving. And for those sports fans out there that know Halo, you might have seen us on the Halo of the McLaren F1 car at Silverstone recently. We are also sponsors of the Ipswich Town Football Club, just down the road from our headquarters in Stowmarket as well. Now, whilst our headquarters is actually in Stowmarket, we have actually cultivated a bit of a global presence now, including America, Europe, Dubai, and Australia as well, which is quite exciting. We've recently started up a new office in Melbourne, Florida, on the East Coast, but our office in Australia is also in Melbourne as well, so I'm hoping the shipping addresses don't get mixed up in that example. Alongside that as well, just a bit of background on Halo. We are a founder-run and owned service brand supporting internal IT teams, service teams, and also managed service providers. So it's important to note with Halo, everything is run in-house with our dev team, who is just sat at the left of me at the moment, running in our UK HQ, keeping up with our pretty intense development track of 2 weekly releases for our betas and monthly releases for our stables, which is very rigorous to keep up with, all the way through to our onboarding consultants who make up our 24/7 support team. Our offices cover every time zone on an 8-hour basis. So if you did call Halo support, it'll be someone from Halo answering your calls that understands the solution as well. No call centers or any outsourcing involved there. We only make and sell one product with Halo, configured for 3 different use cases. So you can see here we have Halo ITSM, which is geared towards internal IT teams, with aspects of change management and ITIL frameworks tied in. We have Halo CRM for customer service teams, and also Halo PSA for managed service providers, which is one of the keys that we have here that we're covering. Now, we have 3 core values at Halo PSA and also ITSM and CRM too that drive everything that we do. So in the MSP world, innovation drives everything we do. So as you know, we are up against Autotask, ConnectWise, and Fresh Service, but we're not here to play catch up in the industry. We're here to shake things up. A big thing about this is you guys. We are customer centric, see here. So in fact, we had so many requests last year, we actually had to release an ideas portal in January for you guys to make suggestions, upvote, and leave feedback for feature requests. It's called ideas.halopsa.com. You can log your feature requests in there, and we will actually look to push them through our development roadmap, which is quite exciting. And Terry's mentioning it was nice to see Lando and Piastri in that last slide. Absolutely. We've actually got a lot of McLaren merch around the office. Apart from this top, we actually have signed helmets at the moment. We actually have a halo that was removed from one of their cars that they've signed for us as well, just sat in the bar at Halo at the moment. It's incredibly light and it's incredibly strong as well. So this is why we put it in the bar, so it could survive, heavy impacts. Not saying that we do a lot in the bar. Just moving back to the presentation there. We also have another point here is our integrity. So we always hear about Halo and, on forums such as Tech Tribe and Reddit, and always about how transparent we are. I now know Reddit as the pit of bears, but we're actually doing quite well on Reddit. And if you're doing well on Reddit, you're generally doing well as an organization. Another example of our transparency or our integrity is our pricing. It is readily available on our website. We won't look to tie you into long contracts or deals. Everything is transparent and available for you free of charge. Moving over to the Halo way, which is a key word in our organization. It's almost tied to our ethos, really. So with the Halo way itself, we actually hold ourselves to a high standard in everything we do. So an example of this is in times of rapid growth, we put measures in places like minimum purchases to stop people signing up with Halo, to look after our teams that got us here today, to make sure that our support teams aren't dealing with too many implementations and we can grow in the correct manner. Putting on hold the number of people joining and the amount of money we're taking in is a very tough decision to make, but it's a sign that we're looking for that level of integrity to look after our teams to grow in the correct manner. Another part of our Halo way is our grad scheme, and it's a scheme that everyone goes through as a new hire at Halo. It's a rotation of every area of the organization to give a real understanding of Halo and everything that we do and what goes into what we do. And I did the grad scheme, Morgan did the grad scheme, for example. Everyone's done it ourselves. You have to run through the entire organization just to get an idea of everything Halo does before you go into the place that suits you best. And for me, as you can see, is webinars. Just moving on to our young hires as well at Halo. It means quite a fun environment, as you can see from our Halloween photo just over here, all the way through to our charity bike ride to Amsterdam, as you can see. This was actually a photo at the start of the bike ride, guys. I promise we weren't looking that happy by the end of it, but it's a good photo to show people. Alongside that as well, with Halo, there is no micromanagement. We're free from this. So there's a super flat management level at Halo. Everyone pushes themselves to excel. Nobody needs permission to drive the product forward. So we're all happy to work towards the same goal. That also means there is quite a familial or a family atmosphere here at work. It's very trusting, which means for people like me, we can offer unlimited holiday, which is quite exciting. So you can work where you want and the hours that work for you, because we know everyone has the same vision and the same end goals here at Halo. Now I'm just going to delve in a few of the notable entities currently using Halo at the moment. This is more geared towards Halo ITSM's prowess. First up, we have the ICO here as one of our customers. They're actually the authoritative body enforcing GDPR in Europe, which is quite exciting. For those that are not in the know, GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. Yes, those guys are currently using Halo ITSM, all the way through to people like Microsoft, who decided to join the Halo party. With a robust team of over 250 technicians currently supporting 40,000 users, they hopped on board last year. It was like getting a big thumbs up from Bill Gates himself, which is quite cool. And then there is more here. As we probably already know, guys, McLaren is a valued member of the Halo family too. Early last year, we solidified a partnership that goes beyond IT solutions, even featuring our logo on their iconic F1 cars. A funny story is that me and another one of the sales reps actually had to skillfully maneuver one of these multi-million-dollar vehicles into a freight elevator at an expo for a trade show. No pressure, right? It's also worth noting as well, some prominent names currently using HaloPSA as well. As the most satisfied using ITSM products, we also have the big ones in HaloPSA too. So there's eager, and for me to tell you these, but there's some big heavyweights using HaloPSA at the moment. So on this screen, you'll see some of the big players from the 501, for example, using Halo, such as, for example, Magna 5. We have T-Tech, for example. We also have Vipreed, which is the largest telecoms provider within Brazil, which is quite a cool one as well. But HaloPSA does it all, from quoting to service delivery to contracts to inventory to vendor management. Everything's tied under one product, one plan, everything included as standard. We've got the whole 9 yards covered. Now, when it comes to our customer base with Halo, about 70% of our clients are MSPs. So we cater to clients with 5 technicians or more. You choose what you want to use in Halo and then select the pieces that you don't want to have out of the selection. But what really sets us apart from the competition here, like ConnectWise and Autotask, is our commercial structure. So most PSA tools are built a bit like, Frankenstein's monster with a bunch of different pieces bolt on, each part for an additional charge. With Halo, it's one product, one plan, everything included as standard, no hidden fees, upgrade nightmares, or anything like that. Your account manager won't be looking to sell you things. They'll be there to chat and maybe share some cat memes if you'd like them to as well. But beyond our features as well, as you can see on this slide here, as I've jumped the gun a little bit, we also have our development team and our integrations as well. So all of our integrations are in-house here as well, as you can see on the screen, taking a feedback from the respective vendors and clients on the screen. Our integrations are included with our license fees, and every quarter you're going to see a stable version with lots of options. And we recently rolled out custom integrations now where you can get or post to an API on event with conditions. Another piece as well is also our AI integrations too. But I could talk your ear off for hours about AI, but I'm going to politely now move over to the Syxsense team to cover their integration, a little bit about themselves and what we're here to talk about today. So Justine, if you'd like to take the screen from me now. It's a very, very smooth transition there.
Yeah.
That felt almost seamless.
It's almost as if I've done it before.
As if you've done it before. Before I even jump into, well, first of all, thank you for this and thank you for having us. We have been excited for quite a while. This was a partnership in the making. And just a quick note to a previous slide, we're a new addition to Halo family. So we're already listed on your website. There's a little bit of information there, but we're hoping to kind of seed and spread the word through the means of these webinars of why this partnership truly is a better together story for a lot of customers. Gene will talk quite a bit about the MSP and MSSP space. My section is fairly quick, mainly again to introduce Syxsense. It is incredible and wonderful to see the philosophy of Halo and what you live by and the way you operate internally, obviously that permeates in terms of that value that customers really feel. I think we embody a lot of the same qualities and the same philosophy in terms of what we do. We generally open the commercial or corporate introductions with we manage and secure everything everywhere from the cloud. And I'll unpack this in the next few slides. Justine? So we don't have as much of a color as you started with, Joe, but what resonates, kind of what stuck out with me as you've introduced the Halo's journey. We've ourselves been around for also 3 decades, actually a little over 3 decades. And that actually constantly reminds us and humbles us when we listen to our customers, their pain points, the prospects, the market, that holistically we aim to enable transformational experiences and transformational initiatives for any enterprise, just because we're bringing to the fold intelligent automation that we'll talk about. We're also are the world's first software vendor that it's cloud-based that delivers this automated endpoint and vulnerability solution that aims to streamline IT and operations, which really dovetails well into the MSP and MSSP space. Again, because of our 3 decades plus experience, that fuels our innovation and the drive to constantly improve and deliver features and functions, not just because we think they're cool, but also because this is what the customers are looking for. It really improves the quality of life. If somebody leverages our software, there's definite value there. And in terms of just technology itself and the way we feel it really fits within specifically MSP and MSSP community and beyond is that productivity and efficiency. It's being able to achieve more by having a platform that delivers a lot of intelligent automation. Next slide. Again, it's slightly harder path to follow in terms of how you unpacked the journey of Halo. Thanks, Joe, for that. However, we have been also recognized in a number of fairly famous outlets, and we're one of those patch vulnerability or patch management and endpoint management platforms out there that have been recognized in several categories, which is a leader and outperformer. It's humbling because there's so many tools of choice, so many ways solutions can be delivered. So to see the audience recognize us as such is a great achievement.
It's impressive.
Next slide.
An average of 4.5 on G2 is very good as well, I should mention.
I didn't want to say it just because if it comes from me, it's more like
it stood out to me.
Thank you. This was well teed up. I appreciate you saying that. This is the last slide for me before I actually pass things to our resident expert, Gene. What I wanted to highlight here is not to overuse the word life cycle, but in a way it is. We always look at the management element from the standpoint, you can't secure what you don't know. And once you do, and once you have this visibility into your endpoint environment, whether those endpoints live at home, whether they're on the network, whether they are in the cloud, you begin to gain control. And so management goes into the security, which is our ability to detect OS level patches, third-party patches, third-party applications, and then layer that with an addition of vulnerability scanning. And that brings us into remediation element, which is truly our strength, that automation and orchestration that delivers intelligent real-time response, whether it's through policy at an endpoint device or whether there are the triggers that invoke this life cycle to repeat. That constantly brings this real-time awareness. And what we opened with all the time, that statement quite literally revolves around management, security, remediation, and so forth. So, and this is a good place to dovetail to Gene. Gene, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, as mentioned, my name is Gene. I run the business practice for Syxsense for the MSP and MSSP community. And where I thought would be a great place to start as a new introduction to success is just to frame the conversation about what we do, the types of devices that we support, and the capabilities within our product that's going to enhance your ability to deliver services in a scalable way while providing the additional value-added services that's really driving the market for your businesses. Where I thought we could start is the type of endpoint devices that we support in terms of our scope. We know that today there's the vast sprawl of your customers' environments encompasses not just compute workstations, servers, workstations, desktops, laptops, and other devices, but printers, virtual devices, IoT devices, switches, routers, and hubs. And to define where we play specifically would be in the compute space, right? And so we are going to manage those Windows, those Mac, those Linux devices, regardless of where they're at. And so whether they live within the cloud or on premise or within data centers that you manage or are co-managed by your customers, whether they're remote or mobile, we are able to manage these devices anywhere they are because of our cloud-based architecture and the way that our product works in terms of the policies that can be set to minimize that hand to keyboard activity that will increase the time it takes for you to deliver services and increase those costs. Now, where Syxsense really made its name started in the patch and vulnerability management space. So our focus has always been on security. And we know, and I know, in speaking with partners out there, both prospects and existing customers, the number one thing that is driving our MSP partners' businesses is security, right? It's this heightened awareness of the risks that they face, the additional insurance costs, and the cybersecurity awareness that third parties, insurance carriers, parent companies have around the risks associated with that by not having a very well thought out, mature cybersecurity plan and or partner to deliver services here. And so the types of things that we cover and address from a risk perspective are, patching, of course, for Windows, Mac, and Linux devices. Third-party applications, which can be a royal pain for many organizations, considering one, the breadth of third-party applications that there are, but more importantly, how often they change, right? Just a single Google Chrome browser might need what, 4, 5, 6 patches on a monthly basis. So to have the infrastructure in place to automatically update those things based on CVE and other characteristics is really important for our partners. And of course, there's the non-compliance, there's misconfiguration that creates security holes, and the security policy violations that you've created in conjunction with and or your customers have created with an MSSP partner or security consultant that need to be maintained. Now, from a functional perspective, our platform has all of the components you might need for replacement or from an RMM and incident management perspective. So under that management category, right, we're going to furnish all the tools that you need. Now, above and beyond that, we're going to help you secure those devices with both operating system and third-party application patching, but more importantly, with a full vulnerability management capability. And when we talk about vulnerability management, it's not just identifying those vulnerabilities that you see in those other vulnerability management products, but actually actioning those vulnerability reports and those trending reports that you're providing to your customers by providing the services to remediate those vulnerabilities at scale. And I'll talk a little bit about that further. Now, one of the challenges in offering these enhanced services and meeting the customers where they're at in terms of timelines is this notion of how quickly you can execute upon making these changes within their environments. And that's where our automation and orchestration comes into play. That coupled with the compliance requirements that organizations have today really point to a solution like ours that's going to cover all of the RMM requirements, the security requirements, and help you scale as a business so that one, you're able to deliver these services in a much more expedited manner, but also, and I'll be frank about it, make more money doing it, right? To be able to scale your business. Next slide. And so within the platform, we have a line here that shares all the types of different devices that there are, but really we're focused on the left three, right? The servers, workstations, and laptops. The areas of service that we can provide is around endpoint management, right? And so all the things that you might do on a day-to-day basis, right? The application deployment, the patch management, the incident response. But we also layer all the things in around compliance, like whether it be HIPAA, Starbucks, PCI, or if you want to hold your customers in terms of a particular security standard, let's say DISA STIG or the CIS benchmarks in terms of security posture, we're able to implement them automatically across all of your customers or just a specific set of customers utilizing our vulnerability management capabilities, right? And so that's not only the ability to identify those vulnerabilities, but to remediate them at scale. And just as a side note, we consider the vulnerability management kind of in two big categories, right? There's first that endpoint hardening aspect, which is the kind of the patch management and operating system patches. But also there's the configuration related vulnerabilities that's much more harder to deliver services upon, right? And so these are things like Log4j, Print Nightmare, Felina, an SMB 1.0 misconfiguration, open ports, bad user passwords, things that you typically have to write a script for in C#, or you have to push down via GPO or another tool where you don't know what the results are. There isn't reporting. It can't be scheduled well through maintenance windows. We've addressed this and help you scale your business by furnishing these tools, which are built on which we believe to be kind of the crown jewel of our solution, which is our Cortex automation and orchestration capabilities, right? And so anything that can be done within our product can be pre-orchestrated and then triggered based on things that are sensed at that end device, so that, again, it's alleviating that overhead on your team to actually action something, right? And there's plenty of flexibility built in, right? And so whether you want a permission-based actioning system so that you or someone from your team have to say yes to explicitly accept a patch deployment or vulnerability remediation, whether you have varying levels of approvals with end customers, for instance, on a high priority CVE, where, hey, there are production systems that might be affected, but because of the nature of the threat, you want to action something very quickly, and maybe you want their permission as well. And so things like that can be significantly improved from a process perspective with our Cortex automation orchestration workflow engine. And what you'll see here in a moment is how easy it is to use, how you can create these workflows, and how you can scale your business by basically microwaving a particular workflow across all of your customers. And of course, we have a very robust reporting and analytics and dashboard engine, right? At the end of the day, it's about proving your worth and being able to show what you've done for your end customers. And that only comes through in that, regular, recurring, proof of services delivered, i.e. those reports that you're delivering to your end customers. Next slide. So this is an example of a particular workflow that many of my partners have been troubled with, and that has to do with the deployment of their security stack. In this example, we're using Sentinel-1 and ThreatLocker, but as you can see, we can first do a check for any device that comes onto the network and identify, hey, does it have the security stack, i.e. Sentinel-1 and ThreatLocker? If not, let's open a ticket automatically. And then let's do the deployment, let's do the configuration, let's close the ticket, or if something happens in the process, let's open up, make a change request to that ticket so that it can be escalated in a different capacity. And then we can move on to the next stage in the process. Hey, is ThreatLocker deployed? Go through that configuration, and at the end of that process, automatically close that ticket. Now, the special sauce here is not that we can just do this automatically, but more importantly, there are things that we know, there are special nuances associated with deploying products like Sentinel-1 or ThreatLocker or Huntress or other security tools because of the specific licensing capabilities or requirements that you have, the keys that need to be pulled that are unique to customer environments on a per customer basis. We have the ability to address all that within our product through the use of variables and just the mature nature of the way that we're able to build out these workflows so that you're able to scale your business. Next slide. Another great example would be service monitoring, for example. Many of you have backup services that you're offering. We're just going to use Veeam as an example here, but it could be CPU utilization, it could be hard disk space, it could be server uptime, whatever the case may be, right? But in this example, for Veeam, we want to check and make sure that from a disaster recovery perspective, that service is always running. Well, let's always be checking to see if it is running. So we set an incremental every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, and let's open up a service ticket if it's not. Let's enable the start of Veeam. If it doesn't come up, let's uninstall it, let's reinstall it, let's push the configuration file down, and then do a service check again. And if it doesn't come back up, let's actually escalate that and do maybe a API call or an email out to a PagerDuty. But it does come back online. Let's close that service ticket. So, what's occurred here? One, you've provided the monitoring services for your end customer. And two, if something has gone wrong, your technicians haven't actually had to do anything to fix the issue. We've documented the services delivered via the PSA, Halo, and you have this proof of service as well as service delivery in an expedited manner. And this can go to any number of examples, and the integrations that we're rolling out with Halo are going to significantly enhance your capability to deliver these services at scale. Next slide. So where are we at in terms of integration with Halo today? Phase one is already done, which is ticket creation and update. And so anything that's happening within our product and monitoring things that are occurring, we can create the ticket, we can update ticket and close the ticket automatically. In phase two, which is due out to be released this quarter, we'll have full configuration item integration, vulnerability scanning and remediation with Cortex. And again, this is good. We already do that independent within our platform, but integration with Halo will add that extra layer of automation for you, right? So rather going into our console and activating it or setting rules, you'll be able to set those triggers within Halo in order to facilitate actioning things that are built within Syxsense via API calls and other methods. Service boards are always incredibly important, right? Understanding priority, understanding, the type of service that's being requested and managing that. And of course, billing. No one wants to do that manually, right? And so we're truly committed to ensuring that we're going to fit within the ecosystem of your business operations with our integrations with Halo. And we're taking huge steps in order to facilitate that with release this quarter. And from a Syxsense perspective, that's where we stand in terms of our relationship. We would love to show you our platform and see how it could either augment or replace what you're currently using from an RMM perspective. So as you might reap the benefits of the automation and orchestration, and most importantly, be able to offer these enhanced services around vulnerability management, which again is one of the primary drivers of growth for our partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That's very exciting to see as well. I'm a big fan of the kind of, is it the Syxsense Cortex? It's just the way that you've simplified those complex workflows and processes is just incredible for kind of improving the efficiency and productivity of, I guess, the IT operations and security teams involved, really. I also want to say as well, it is a pleasure to work with you guys too. I mean, you are great to work with as an organization. A positive working relationship is built on a mutual respect with each other and a shared vision and trust, making our daily operations between us very successful. We are very like-minded in our approach as well with you guys, and I'm very happy that we share similar values and goals, which helps us stay aligned in our mission to maintain a unified approach, which is very cool. And also as well, strong communication channels. I mean, we're always in communication as well. If there is any issues that ever do crop up, I feel like both our parties will be very quick and efficient to resolve them too. But thank you very much for that presentation. That was wonderful, which takes us very nicely over to a very short Q&A portion, guys, as we have 5 minutes left of our allotted slot. So just opening up to the participants in the room now, guys. Does anyone have any questions about Syxsense or Halo following the webinar here? And don't all jump at once, guys. If we've covered everything, then you don't have to ask a question. There we go. So we have a question from Peter here asking about pricing. So I'll pass it over to Justine to allocate someone about pricing, as I'm not sure who to direct that to.
I know who to go to straight away. That's going to be Jean. Jean,
Yeah,
jump in.
so our product is priced on a per managed device basis. Um, and so, and the reason that we do that is really it comes down to the number of assets. And we consider a server or a PC or a laptop all the same. So there isn't any differentiation in terms of pricing. From a user perspective, however, it is unlimited, right? We know that within your businesses, there are going to be organizations that are fully managed by you. And then there are going to be organizations that are co-managed, right? You have a hybrid type uh, structure with them. So maybe the end user has some IT staff that might do the odd incident response or, may want access to report. So you can have an unlimited number of users within our platform. And because of the multi-tenant nature of our architecture, you can segregate what they can do, what they can see, and all of those things within our RBAC system, right? And so it's going to be end device based from a licensing pricing perspective, and then unlimited number of users.
Thank you very much. And just passing over another question from Nick Warren now, from a different person, questioning about needing a simple billing integration from the start, and what is available now and what is planned for Q3.
Yeah. So billing is currently not available today. And what we are planning on and what will be released is the ability to concatenate the number of devices that you have in a particular category for a particular customer, because we know that's the way that you bill, right? And so when you have customer X, you want to know how many servers they have, how many workstations they have, and then you want to be able to possibly segregate that based on operating systems and other, descriptive factors. And so being able to aggregate that data and furnish that to you within your billing system in a presentable form where it can be absorbed by Halo is what we're going to be providing.
Awesome. Thank you. And passing over to the next question from Nick about the API. Do you have a public API and what does it
We
cover?
do have a public API. And so we have a page where you can pull down any bit of data that's within our platform, can be pulled down and scheduled for whatever increment that you would like.
Wonderful. And that's the list of questions there, guys. Just a couple minutes left. Is there any more questions for the guys out there in the webinar? I will quickly share my screen as well for everyone watching the webinar, just to see the Syxsense web page here as well, for access to, as you can see, just over here.
I would say if any questions post-webinar do come up, please just send them to us. We're more than happy to have follow-ups or just answer in a non-threatening way, just via email. Well, there's no strings attached. So if anyone thinks of something afterwards, we're obviously here to help and here to facilitate anything you guys need in terms of info exchange.
Brilliant. And now we have 3 more questions left on the list, guys. The follow-up from Nick is just on the API. So could the API provide billing info?
It's going to depend on what you want in terms of billing info, because any configuration item within our system will be able to be pulled. And that's dozens, if not hundreds of fields. So love to take that offline with you and potentially have a conversation about what your specific needs are, and make sure that we can meet your needs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, finding the billing info in the API is something that probably might require some digging into. I can imagine. It'll be a tough one to answer on call off the bat.
Yeah.
And then just a question from Matt Jarvis, and after that, the question from Razor. Is your platform targeted to replace the RMM, or is it more targeted against apps like Connect Secure?
So typically organizations will replace their RMM. So whether it be a ConnectWise or whether it be a Kaseya, whether it be a other, because we do offer that full capability. Now, many organizations, we know what a huge uplift that replacing your RMM is. It's not to be taken lightly. But what they do like is the capabilities around our vulnerability management product, right? Because there are no products in the market today that has all the RMM capabilities along with the full vulnerability scanning and most importantly, remediation capabilities, right? And so many organizations will be like, hey, you guys are the best in the business when it comes to patch and vulnerability management. We're going to augment our current platform with what you have and then gradually make a transition.
Awesome.
Uh, and then from a pricing perspective and a quantity perspective, minimum quantity is 50 licenses, and there is an internal use license that that we make available for our customers. But it's going to be dependent on, our conversation. It can vary. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's hundreds of licenses, dependent on the organization size and all those other considerations.
Awesome. And then just the final one on the Q&A section will be from Razor. I just will quickly answer Phil's question. Yes, we can view the recording. What I will do is send it across. We will be sending it out via socials as well, but I can send it across to you via your email directly if you wanted to. If you'd like to share that with me, or I can grab it from the webinar and email you following the session.
And the
and
minimum
then,
term, I can answer that question. The initial minimum term is 1 year. So we don't tie you into a long contract. I don't know that you probably want to be switching products less than a year. So yeah, it is 1 year.
And then the final one of the session, as we're slightly running over now, is from Razor. If your Syxsense can replace the SaaS alerts. So can Syxsense replace SaaS alerts?
I'm not familiar with that product, but I'm going to guess just by the name that it may be a monitoring tool, specific to monitoring different things on services and devices. We'll have to delve into that a little bit further as I'm unfamiliar with that, but we can monitor. We have hundreds of pre-built monitors within our product that are pre-built, and then again, not only can you alert on them and set thresholds, but more importantly, you can action them for additional steps to basically reduce that service delivery overhead.
And the functionality as well will be fairly similar with creating tickets from alerts within Halo, our side. Awesome. So that kind of takes us quite nicely to the end of the webinar there. I really appreciate everyone joining today, especially from the people in the background and also my panelists here with Andrei, Justine, Jean and Roxana, who's been quietly in the background there as well. I really appreciate you guys joining today. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we can move on from here and send the webinar out on socials. But if anyone does want to get in touch with the Syxsense team, feel free to reach out as well via their contact forms or web pages. And Andrei is always happy to answer an email too. Gene has popped his email in the group chat there at gene@syxsense.com for those technical questions too. But otherwise, guys, really appreciate your time today. Have a great rest of your day, and we can move forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.
Take care. Have a great day.